Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to take some time to talk about the reasons why I hated college. I thought that it would be a nice story to share since I always hear people talk about how they love college and how it was wonderful and the best time of their life and they did all this crazy stuff. I actually didn't really get the opportunity to do all those crazy things, and I'm not gonna hate, I'm happy for them, but my life was actually pretty shit. So one of the first things that I hated when going to college was my commute. I lived in the same town as my university, and it used to take me 45 minutes to an hour to get to school. The first 3 to 4 years of college, I was taking public transportation, and even though there was a lot of public trans in the area that I lived, it would take me a really long time just because of the traffic. And the worst part was when I used to talk to some of my friends that lived in towns outside of where my university was, it used to take them almost the same amount of time. You would assume that 3 miles from my house to my university would only take me maybe 20 minutes the most, but no, it would take me 45 minutes to an hour if I took transportation. And once I finally had a car, I was able to get to school in about 30 to 45 minutes. But all I know is that I had some friends that lived 7, 8, 9, 10 miles away from school, and it used to take them about 45 minutes. Of course, it was a city area and it was busy, and it's a big town, there's a lot of schools, there's school buses, there's a lot of people, and the construction. For whatever reason, every single day there's construction in a different street. That's all I gotta say. The next reason why I hated college was because I had to work while I was in school. Yes, I was not fortunate to have wonderful parents to just shower me with money, so I had to go and work while I was in school. Obviously, working my first job was very eye-opening because I realized how hard it is to get money when working for the serving industry and, customer service. When working for the serving industry, I realized that a good way for me to make money was to flirt my way through people and also be ridiculously nice to people. So I once worked at a diner and they wanted to start overnight shifts because the diner used to stay open overnight, but I worked in the cashier section and that shift used to end by 2 a.m. I told the owners that I would be okay with staying overnight just because my school schedule was so busy. I used to work the overnight shift, and don't get me wrong, I made so much money because the people who showed up to the diner at 3 o'clock in the morning would be cops, EMTs, firefighters, people who have to work the overnight shift and have no other option. Those were the people who I was taking care of. It was fun having a lot of friends and getting to know people, and I really became close to a lot of them. But working overnights was killer. If you're a music major, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's no music major that will take only 12 credits. That doesn't happen. That's not real. Music majors will always take 15 to 18 credits. Sometimes music majors have to do credit overload. One semester, I actually took 22 credits and I had to drop a class so that I can live and not go crazy. And just so you know, as a music major, when you're taking those 18 credits, you're not only taking 6 classes, you're taking a lot of small classes that are worth nothing. So like, for example, I used to have to go to choir 2 times a week for 2 hours, and that one class alone was worth 1 credit. So most music majors that will be taking about 10 to 11 classes, and that's about 17 to 18 credits. But anyways, working the overnight shift was killer because my schedule in college was so crazy that I had no other space to work. So the only time that I was able to actually work a full-time job so that I can sustain myself was doing overnight. During that year, I wanted to rip my hairs out because I only slept on the weekends. I worked Sunday to Thursdays, and by Thursday night, going into Friday, I actually slept, and then I think I would work a shift on Friday, and then I think I would sleep on Saturday. I don't remember, but all I remember is that I slept only 2 days a week. And you know when you work the graveyard shift, you're usually not sleepy when you should be sleeping. It was crazy. It was insane. I can't believe I did it for almost a year. It wasn't a full year. It was about 11 months, and I quit that job because I was literally going insane. All right, so now I'm gonna actually talk about the music major and the class overload that you have to take as a music major, which is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people just quit music. Because when you audition and you look at your credit load and your course load when you're applying to music school, you realize that it's ridiculous. So like I mentioned previously, being a music major means that you're taking 10 to 11 classes that are worth 1 credit, 2 credits, or 1.5 credits, just so that you can fulfill all of the requirements that you need in order to graduate. If I'm not wrong, most people in my university graduate with 140 credits, 120, I can't remember, it was like 140, I think. And music majors usually graduate with about 160. And I wasn't just a music performance major, I was a music education major. So music education majors are actually considered double majors, because in order to be a music education major, you have to do performance and you also have to do education. And that also doesn't take into account the fact that you have to do student teaching, practicum, and a million other things. It was crazy because I think I graduated with about 170 just because I took like a remedial writing course when I first started. And that's actually pretty normal for music majors. And in my university, the credit load that a music major has can be equivalent to the people who are studying nursing or medicine. I would say that one of my biggest frustrations as a music major was dealing with some of my professors. Don't get me wrong, I actually like the majority of my professors. I think there were like 1 or 2 where I was not very fond of, and it is what it is. I guess you can say that first impressions count, and in college, I wasn't really the most jolly person. I was pretty miserable. A little bit less miserable than what I am now. I'm still a little bit miserable, but I'm not as miserable as I was in college. And some of the professors, when they first met me, they were like, wow, well, this person's the way it is. So, and it's okay. I don't judge. I probably would do the same thing. If I meet someone who's an asshole, I'm probably just going to treat them like a jerk. But I guess the most frustrating part was them not understanding certain things. And even professors who I actually really love deeply. Like I actually have this one professor who oh my God, she is probably the one female figure in my life that I actually admire, and she didn't understand many of the things. She is older and she's very nice, and she could be like my other mom. I don't know. She's amazing. But there were times where I would share my frustrations, which was usually about money. And she was like, well, Ange, all you have to do is save. And I'm like, it's hard to save when all of the money that I gain comes in one pocket and goes right out the other one. Literally, that's how my money was. And I feel like a lot of my problems in college were because I was broke and not being able to talk to an adult that could understand my situation was very frustrating. So that was probably one of the biggest things. I feel like because I was broke, I had to work full time. I had to take course overloads because I wanted to try to finish college as soon as I could so that I could pay less money, because we all know the longer you're in college, the more money you're paying. And that kind of just made it difficult for me to enjoy college. And even though there are many professors that I loved, me sharing my personal stories to them was very hard, because even though I shared things that I was going through, they were just like, well, it's called saving. And I'm like, it's not saving, because I have bills to pay and a million other things to pay, and I didn't have enough time. So that's that. So the last thing that I want to talk about is mental health and friendships. This is a very hard thing for me to talk about, because I feel like I've always, not just me, but everyone has always struggled with mental health at some point in their life. And I definitely had my issues, but when I started college, my mental health went to the floor. And there were a lot of things that contributed to this. Obviously, not eating properly or sleeping properly plays a big role. But there were a lot of things that I was going through personally that I don't think I feel comfortable sharing here, at least yet. First of all, when I started college, I didn't start in the fall. I started in the spring because I didn't really have the money, and I had to take a semester break. So I was already starting off on the wrong foot, just because I didn't even start in the fall. I started in the spring. Aside from that, I tried to keep a lot of my friendships, and I ended up losing all of them. I'm surprised that I still have one or two friends that I can still kind of talk to, but I legitimately lost all of my friends. Yes, I have social media, but I don't consider people on my Instagram or Facebook my friends, because I don't really talk to them. But yes, I lost all of my friends, and yeah, it's fine. I don't really care, but obviously, like, it doesn't help when you're like struggling and there's a million things happening, and all you want to do is probably like talk to someone, but you really can't because you feel weird talking about it. And then you also have to work and take course overloads, and everything plays a role into it. And when I was in college, I didn't have time to socialize. I didn't really have the time to go into parties. I remember in my school, every Thursday night, people used to go to the other university to go to a party. And, that always sounded like fun, but it wasn't really an option for me, because I had to work full time and I had to go to school full time in order to graduate and do exactly what I'm doing right now and be stable. And yeah, it was not fun. I also distanced myself a lot from my family. I mean, I'm already very distant from my family, but I had to be even more distant from them than what I already am. And that was not fun. I remember working through Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, I would literally work all of the holidays just because I needed to pay for school and also pay for my bills, because again, I had a lot of things happening and I just always had bills to pay. And everyone who works full time and goes to school full time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And all of the music majors that work, just if you're a music major that has a job, you already know what I'm talking about. Now imagine having a job, being a music major, but like that job being a full-time job. It was ridiculous. Like, you will not have any friends, just like me. And I tried keeping some friendships, but a lot of the friendships that I had didn't understand my circumstances, and I used to get frustrated. And of course, that's getting frustrated sometimes is not the way to go about things, but I mean, can you blame me? I mean, I feel like in comparison to many people, I feel like I actually like pull through, and I have a job and I have a roof over my head, and I'm kind of happy with where I'm at. Obviously, there are some things that I'm working on little by little, but yeah, that's kind of like the reason why I hated college, because everything that happened to me in college was shit. It was total shit. And everybody has a different experience, and obviously we all have to respect each other, but at least my experience was trash, and that is why I hated college. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video. You are amazing. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell. And don't forget to follow me on my other social media on Twitter and Instagram. Remember that by interacting with this video or any of the videos in my channel, you are supporting me and this wonderful channel, okay? All right, everybody. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.